in our relationships, we should have total erotic freedom within ourselves. What we do in our relationships now is we take ownership of our partners. Like, you can only think about me, and only I must eroticize you. And this is how I need to feel safe, and this is what I need from you. And it's like me, and we're doing that to each other. We keep things kind of childish because only the child thinks that all their needs are going to be met by somebody else. So what if you said to your partner, you're free, like, just fantasize whatever you want. Use my body. Here I am. Use me and go wherever you want to go.
Hi, I'm Yolanda, and this is The Curious Exchange, a live interactive event in Cape Town where we have conversations that may support you in living a happier, healthier, more conscious life. Brought to you by experts who are passionate about their topics. This is the first edition we're bringing to you online, wherever you are, because not everybody lives in Cape Town, and the wisdom our speakers share are just too golden to not share with the broader audience. I really hope you find the conversations enriching and inspiring. In this edition, we feature Miriam Cohen, a transformational relationship coach. She will share with us the ancient wisdom that she bases her coaching on for modern relationships. Miriam is an experienced relationship coach and deep transformation practitioner. She's been working with couples and individuals around the world since 2009. She also has experience in various movement and art therapies and dream analysis, but your core is definitely your coaching and relationship coaching. Yeah, her work is based on Jungian, archetypal psychology, Kabbalah, Tantra, Eastern philosophy, and Shamanism. Big words, which we'll hear more about. And a quick disclaimer, just for everyone, is that really sharing tonight's about, well, with both speakers, applies to whatever sexual orientation people are, and also singles and couples, because this wisdom can be applied to people looking for a partner. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
There's so much. Yeah. All right, so I've done enough talking. First question. I mean, it's almost obvious, but what do you think? What is an intimate relationship really about, in your view?
Yeah, it's just such a big question. And yeah, so intimacy, it's like this connection between two people when you sit across from each other and you really look and you really listen and you connect. And so when we get into intimate relationships, in the beginning, there's this flood of connection, chemistry, giving our best show that happens, and we really just seduce each other into the relationship. And we kind of, I suppose, based on our culture, we expect that this thing is going to last, even though we know intellectually that it probably won't. We expect in some way that this thing will last. And so what happens slowly over time is the people get to really know each other. So the personas that you're presenting on your first date, in the first few months, maybe sometimes in the first year or two, start to gradually peel away. You live together, you spend a lot of time together, you start to reveal yourself, like the worst part of ourselves that always comes out with our closest family, like...
You start farting in front of each other.
You start farting and fighting. And so for me, real intimate relationships are really gonna start to take place at that point, when you really have to look at the person in front of you and see how they're carrying a whole lot of projections for you of your stuff and how they trigger you. And then it's facing this person without the masks and really deepening the relationship. So for me, that's what an intimate relationship means.
I know this is coming up later, the whether we've planned, but I almost feel like, maybe here's a good space to speak about why do you, in your view, you really promote sticking it out, sticking in the, staying with a container. Should we just talk about that?
Sure.
Yeah,
it's a hard one because I work with a lot of couples. Couples are coming to me, they're on the verge of getting divorced. Couples are coming to me who are trying to figure out whether they should actually get married. Coming to me when they're experiencing hardship, which is an inevitable part of relationship. And so I'm basing my views on this idea of the 7-year serpent cycle, which is this idea that comes from many different places, including developmental psychology, that our life seems to go in these 7 years, these 7-year cycles. And if you look at our sort of biological progression through life, the first 7 years, a child's very attached to their parents. The next 7 years, they start to have more social relationships and more independence. 14, the next 7 year, 14 to 21, you're an adolescent, you're exploring who you are not, you're rebelling, and then 21 to 28, you're becoming a young adult. So we really do go in these 7-year cycles. And what's so fascinating to me is that so do our relationships. Our relationships go in 7-year cycles. Oh. And it is uncanny. I promise you, it blows my mind every time how many couples come to me and they're like at that place where we're done. We don't know what to do. I'm like, okay, how long have you been in a relationship? Well, about 6 to 7 years, Oh. I'm like, great, this is a beautiful thing because you've stuck it out this long. You've done what we call the biological marriage, where you're kind of figuring out how to live together. You're doing life together. Maybe you've, had kids. Maybe you're juggling careers and household, and you've kind of done that stretch. And now you're at this amazing point where there's a death that needs to happen, a death and a rebirth that needs to happen in the relationship. And so that's why I'm such a believer of long-term relationships, because when you get to that death point, the way it literalizes itself is, okay, let's end this thing. It's not working. And for me, that's such a missed opportunity. And obviously it's a case-by-case basis, but there really is a missed opportunity because the couple has something that the way they've been relating up until this point has worked, and now it's not working anymore. And so what they're asked to do is to say, okay, how do we do this differently? What's the next iteration of us? What's the next 7 years that lies ahead for us? What needs to die in me? What needs to die in you? What needs to die in the way we relate? So there's this whole transformational process that takes place at that point. There are many transformations in death and rebirth that take place along the way, but these are very, very crucial ones. And when we really go the distance, we go through 7 and 14 and 21 years until we've just died and reborn again together, until there's like no shit left. I mean, there is, but you're like, you accept yourselves, you accept each other, like that old couple holding hands in the park. They didn't get there because they kept their romanticism going the whole way. They got there because they just went through thick and thin, and they came to this beautiful, incorruptible place together.
Beautiful.
So for me, that's just like the point of relationship, really. Just die and transform again. What are we here for? Let's do it in relationship. That's where we do it best.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Can we speak for a bit about you? A lot of your work is informed by ancient wisdom, and you apply that to our modern day era. Tell us a bit about what is that ancient wisdom that you pull from?
So I just want to say that I'm not a master in any of these things. It's like, Miriam is studied blah, blah, blah.
No one is.
Just
right?
scratch the surface of a bunch of different traditions, wisdom traditions. And so a lot of what I do is drawn from mythology, which is very much embedded in Jungian and post-Jungian psychology, and drawing from these ancient myths that were the way that people conveyed wisdom through the ages. They passed on what they learned about human behavior and life and the experiences we have through mythology, through stories. And a lot of the stories are about relationships. And there's some very key fundamental ones that deal with marriage and that deal with the difficulties that come up in relationships. So I draw a lot from that. And then I draw a lot from Kabbalistic teachings. Like there's a Kabbalistic teaching which speaks to what I've just been saying, which is that the person that you have a long-term relationship with or you marry is your Eze Kenegdor, which means your...
Say it again, your...
Eze Kenegdor, which means my helper against me. I'm your helper against you. And so that teaching is that you should find someone that helps you by challenging you, helps you by pushing against you. You shouldn't find someone that's just like, my biggest alarm bell in relationships is, no, we're cool. We're like
we never fight. We never fight.
I'm like, okay, so then what happens between you? Where's the eros? Where's the juice? So that concept of Eze Kenegdor is such an important thing in relationship. Like, can you really face the challenge? Can you really confront each other? It doesn't have to be mean. It can be, it often is. But like, can you really push up against this person, and can you receive that from the other person and really reflect? A lot of it is about reflection. It's about going inside of yourself because somebody's holding a mirror up to you. Yeah.
I think it's so difficult with media and films and fairy tales selling us this ideal, and the one also, this idea of the one, and you meet someone and they just tick all the boxes. So can I ask this question though? How do we pick the right person?
Yeah.
Because what you're talking about is two people who are committed to each other. Something has worked. Okay, first question. How do we pick the right person? And then I'll ask the next one.
So first I want to speak to the thing that you're saying about the world we live in now. I mean, we are up against a mammoth beast that is actually very new. We didn't have this media, advertising, marketing that uses relationships and love as a tool to sell happiness. And it's everywhere you look, everywhere you go, every advert, every mall you walk into, every radio station you listen to. I mean, it's even in fairy tales, it's in fiction, it's in everything, in songs. And we long for that love, and it's what draws us towards each other, but it's not realistic. And people have never looked for that up until, I don't know, maybe the last 100 years, maybe. And so we are programmed to go into a relationship thinking, okay, who's my person? A, they're going to complete me, which is incorrect. And B, what kind of person do I need to complete me? What's my, and I often ask people, what's your laundry list? And the funniest thing is that all our laundry lists are kind of the same because we've been fed the same information. Like, I want them to be funny, and I want them to be smart, but not that smart. And I want them to like to travel, but they must also have a foundation at home. And like, okay, cool, got you. We've been sold this thing. And then the worst part of it now, Yolanda, is swipe left, swipe right.
Yeah.
That's how we get to choose. We're not using our communities to connect and to ask people from their intuitive sense, who do you think would suit me? So then to answer the question you asked, is my belief is kind of controversial on how do you pick the right person. And it goes something like this. Look around you, literally, everybody in the room. Look around the room, look behind you, look to the side of you, take in the faces. Really try to see who's in this room. Is there anyone that you're noticing that kind of seems kind of cool? Maybe you like what they look like, they got a nice vibe, there's something, I don't know what it is. Like out of the whole room, there's gonna be like one or two people, maybe more, that you're like, that person's kind of cool. Okay. And then we don't know if that person's available, but if that person is available, pick them. Okay, so and I'll tell you why, because as long as they're a decent human being, which is I'm assuming most people here are.
We only have decent human beings having to do the Carols exchange. It's when you buy a ticket, there's actually are you a decent human being?
Are you a decent human being? Tick. Okay, that's the only tick that you really need. Yeah, not too decent. Not too decent. I love it.
Decent, but not too decent.
That's also, my husband, by the way, so he knows.
Also naughty and cheeky and funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what happens when you do this, right, and there's been studies about this, is when you walk into a room full of people, there is the subconscious radar in you that can read off of somebody whether their shit matches your shit. Like they did a study of people who came from alcoholic parents, put them in a room of a whole lot of people, and said, who are you attracted to? And every time they were attracted to someone who had alcoholism in their family, or were going to trigger their stuff about alcoholism and addiction. So there's this chemistry is not something it's a mystery. It's a total mystery to us. We can't figure it out. I mean, I haven't read the science on it, to be honest, but my belief is that it's largely a mystery. And so just pick someone that you feel connection, like you feel drawn to, because what's going to happen is no matter who they are, you're going to play out your stuff, and they're going to play out their stuff, which is what you've decided subconsciously matches each other, and you're going to have to work it out. You're just going to have to work it out. That's the challenge.
Someone actually said once, everyone's got their shit, so it's whether or not you can handle my shit and I can handle your shit, but everyone's got shit.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, it's going to take you a whole lot of time to figure out what somebody's shit really is. So then what you get is you get people jumping from monogamous relationship to monogamous because they get to the shit and they're like, actually, nah, this is not what I signed up for. And so It's about, well, everyone's going to have shit. You've just gone through the whole effort of getting to know this person and stripping away who you are. Now, make it work, because if you go to the next person, the same thing is going to happen all over again. It might be slightly different. It might be slightly less challenging. It might, but it's going to happen. You take yourself wherever you are, as they say. Yeah.
So then why is it that you promote this sticking together, sticking at that alchemy, that you call it the vessel of?
The alchemists work with base materials, and they started to understand and develop this psychologically, that when you put certain base materials into a vessel and you seal the vessel, there's an alchemic reaction that happens. And that's true for relationships. You just get in, you close the lid, and you don't get out. And you turn up the heat, by the way. It's kind of like,
pressure cooker.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not, I'm saying this largely. Obviously, I really want to say that it is a case-by-case basis, and there obviously are couples that it's not going to work for various reasons, and I'm happy to go into those. But I want people to shift their mindset to that, by and large, that is the principle of making a relationship work, because we are so programmed now to do the opposite. Laundry list, actually, you know what, this kind of conflict's not working for me, blah, 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 blah. All the reasons why people don't stick it out.
Instead of sticking it out.
Yeah.
What do you think is one of the key signs that you'll even say to a couple, pull the plug?
Yeah. So I have a couple of base rules that these were part of my teaching, and have really what's been passed down to me, and I really do believe them. And they are controversial. So for me, it's like highly abusive relationships where it's been ongoing abuse. There's no sign of any reflection, remorse, transformation happening. I do want to say, like, couples do hurt each other. They do. Like, I mean, if anyone sitting here has been in a long-term relationship and gotten angry, especially women, because there's such a taboo about men hurting women, they'll rather punch the wall. Women, they do. They punch their husbands. There is a physical eroticism in that wrestle. It happens for couples. So I'm talking about abuse, like real abuse, and then all forms of abuse. And then the other one would be if there's constant infidelity, and the person who's being cheated on is not okay with it. Because there's some people who stay married even though they're being cheated on because it's a good deal for them. For whatever reason, they want to keep the relationship going. But constant infidelity, and one person, it's just not working for them, and there's no sign of any change, get out. And then the other one is, I'm working my stuff. I'm putting everything in to transform myself, but my partner is just not interested in reflecting, not interested in working, not engaging me on anything. And I mean really not engaging me on anything. So then I like to say, well, not me, it's what I've been taught, and I really do agree with it. It's kind of funny, is you have an option at that point. You can keep them as your pet. Okay.
I love that, yeah.
And so what does that mean? You cuddle your pet, they might sleep in your bed, you eat with them, you go for walkies with them, you tell them you love them, they're just so sweet, but you don't expect that much back from them. Right? So you can keep your partner as a pet, and it's absolutely fine. In fact, the truth is that a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that. They get on with their own process and they keep their partner, and it works. There's so many, it sounds ridiculous the way I'm saying it, but the truth is there's so many reasons why a relationship works. We've got kids, we've got a family, we're financially dependent on one another. We actually enjoy each other's company. There's lots to talk about. Yeah. But I'm stuck, I'm wanting to move and they're not. Okay, so they know what you're in for,
Yeah. Yeah. What about opening up a relationship? That's also a hot topic these days.
Oh, such a hot topic.
Hot topic. Polyamory or not non-ethical, ethical non.
There's all the different ways.
Ethical non-monogamy. Yeah, I actually hosted a talk at Retreat Yourself about the different relationship structures, and fascinating stuff. And to be clear for anyone who isn't familiar with that kind of territory, it's all about consent. If you open up a relationship and go into polyamory, it's about consent. It's not about, it's open for one person. That's called cheating. That's different. That's different. Yeah.
Complicated stuff.
Yeah. What's your view on open relationships?
Yeah. So I've thought a bit about this, and just to say, I haven't been in one, so I don't know what it's like from the inside. but this is my view, is that the alchemical vessel needs to remain sealed for the cooking process to happen. That's what alchemists say. There's a certain pressure release when we take our eroticism outside of the relationship. And if the cup, so when you're doing soul work, the language of the soul is imagination. That's the language of the soul. Our souls dream, our souls imagine, our souls fantasize.
I love that.
And so when an image arrives of let's open up this relationship, I'm needing someone else, I'm needing something else from someone else, then my first go-to is, okay, what does this image point to? So I would ask, who in this marriage is stuck? Who are you looking for that you cannot bring into this relationship? What is the thing you're going out there to find that you're not able to find here? Are you really not able to find it? Or what is it you would need to do to find it? Because there are so many of us inside here. There's not just one version, and we get stuck in a version. And actually, our imaginations allow us access to so many things inside of ourselves. Our erotic imaginations can go to the wildest corners of the universe. But we get stuck in this repetitive eroticism with each other. Part of domesticity, part of the wife-husband archetype. And so what I believe is if you work the image, if the couple says, okay, let's work this out, what are we really after? And if they get to, well, we're good, like this vessel is sealed, but we're gonna bring in something and we're gonna put it in and we're gonna seal it. I don't know if it works, I don't know, it's just a hypothesis. Then as long as whatever comes up is you and your partner dealing with that thing, then you might be able to keep the vessel sealed. If you're gonna not want to keep the vessel sealed and you want to open the vessel up and you're kind of throwing this whole theory out the window, then what comes to mind for me is, okay, so are you going to cook out? Are you going to get to that place where it's so intense and the heat is so high and there's nowhere to go that you're being forced to transform yourself? You're being forced to face things inside of yourself that you wouldn't otherwise. Is that going to happen? B, if you're going to be committed to that process of facing yourself through the other, you're going to now have to do it with more than one person. So you're going to have to get really hot and really heavy with more than one person.
And work on your time management.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like, Yolanda, honestly, I feel like this is a whole subject that I want to give more thought to, because I really have been grappling with it, and I'd like to talk to more people in various situations, because I think it's so case by case, everything is, and really understand the dynamics, like what is the setup, what are you after, what images are coming up for you. Essentially, we should be able to, this is just another part of the answer, in our relationships, we should have total erotic freedom within ourselves. What we do in our relationships now is we take ownership of our partners. Like, you can only think about me, and only I must eroticize you. And this is the way, how I need to feel safe, and this is what I need from you. And it's like me, and we're doing that to each other. We keep things kind of childish because only the child thinks that all their needs are going to be met by somebody else. So what if you said to your partner, you're free, like just fantasize whatever you want. Use my body. Here I am. Use me and go wherever you want to go. It doesn't have to be me. It's like radical. I said this to someone in therapy the other day, and they're like, you mean my wife and I can think about other people? Like, isn't that cheating?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, don't restrict it. Don't restrict it to people. Like, yes, go. Like, other people, gods, animals, like the God, whatever. And usually it's not. I mean, usually wherever it goes, it goes. Like, they're
teacher.
Yeah. And then it's not even people. It's like, I'm like in space, and I'm having this erotic orgy with like the elements. I don't know.
Marshmallows.
Just go there. In fact, please go there, because it's what keeps the eroticism alive. Please do that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I came up with this line in my head, which was something like, you only need one body to make love with the universe. You really only need one body. What does it matter if it's this person's body or that person's body? Bodies are bodies. Like, bodies have smells, they have scents, they have, like, anybody can offer you that. If you're,
it's in your mind and in your in your power.
Yeah.
What and Esther, I mean, who knows Esther Perel's work? Anyway, she, brilliant book. Mating in Captivity, one of the fastest books that I read, and she speaks about, I think there's a line that says, desire needs distance and mystery.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, do you want to speak a bit about that?
Sure. So yeah, for me, it does need literal distance. You know, we can't just constantly be up in each other's faces all the time. Everybody's an individual. They need breathing room, you know, and independence and a chance to just live their lives. And couples do kind of get really, really stuck in their domestic hold on each other. But there's also internal distance. I think that's so important, where you don't have to share everything. You have to keep things something sacred. You don't have to do everything with this person. You certainly don't rely on one person to fulfill all of your intimacy. There's sexual intimacy, cool. There's intellectual intimacy, psychological, emotional, ecological, like how you go into the world, social intimacy, spiritual intimacy. Like what? You're going to expect one human being to fulfill all of that? You're basically asking the person to be like a god. No wonder they're going to let you down, you know, this poor human.
Totally, yeah.
So that's also part of the distance, is to just like let it breathe, find community, find other people who offer you different things, keep a bit of mystery. And I don't mean like, I know Esther Perel gives this example in her book where she says, go on a date and pretend to be other people, or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but it's kind of literal, you know, you can do that once or twice, but how many times can you do that? You have a whole life together. So it's actually much more about like the distance you create when you withdraw into yourself and you have reflection and you have intimacy with yourself, and it gives your partner some time and space to do the same with themselves. It's very hard to attain. I'm still trying to figure that out in my own marriage, you know, because it's like you got kids, you got the house, you got your feelings, it's really hard to get there, but I think it's a beautiful thing to aspire to.
There was, we featured Nathan Maingard, wonderful life coach. He's recently married, his wonderful partner Carly, and he shared with us how he used to just dump everything on her, you know, like all the emotions, all the things he's going through, life, etc. And he actually realized that it wasn't fair on her, and he found a men's group, some men's group members here, because you can't expect someone to hold everything and then also, okay, now let's be sexy and erotic, and you know, that distance I think is so key, and it is almost like one of those myths that we get told. I certainly believed it when I was younger, like, oh no, you've got to tell your partner everything. Oh no, you know, there can't be any secrets or any mystery, or no, keep some, like.
Totally. Do you know how hard that is as a therapist? I'm constantly analyzing the relationship, you know, it's like, stop, breathing room. Yeah, and I think what you're saying is so important, Yolanda. It's like men need men and women need women. Totally. And that really offers reprieve to the relationship. Yeah.
If you had to give some tips for people who are in relationships or looking for relationships, what advice, practical advice can you give us?
For people who are, or for people who are looking?
I guess okay, people who are in a relationship.
Okay, for people who are in a relationship, commit to one another that you are in it for the alchemic transformation. Commit to one another that you acknowledge that the relationship is about stripping away of your ego, stripping away of your defenses, opening up to the extreme challenge that it brings, and that you're not going anywhere. That's one. As best you can, you know. 2, touch points. Every day, have touch points, like a hand on the back, a hand on the neck, you know, just like touch points. Sit on the couch, have a cup of tea, touch toes. Share not only transactional stuff and not only your feelings, but share poetry, share things that interest you, share ideas you're having, share your nighttime dreams, share gossip. You know, that's something we do kind of well, but it's a good thing. It kind of does, you know, it does nourish at a level. Yeah, some distance, some mystery, and community. I think that's something that's massively missing from us now, is create community so that you have resources beyond your partner. You don't overburden them. And then I've got this rule in the couples work that I do, which is that each person takes 100% responsibility for what's going on in the relationship. Because I think that when we start to blame, when we start to get into the blame game, it's just an endless cycle. It'll never go anywhere. When you can sit back and say, okay, this is the problem and it is totally my fault. Okay, now you've opened up a whole incredible pathway for yourself, for understanding yourself and understanding what you bring. What are my triggers? What are my defenses? What are my wounds? What do I expect over here? What am I doing? What am I not doing? That's so empowering. We can't change the other person, try as we might. I promise you, I've tried. We can't change the other person. We can reflect to them. We can be there with them. We can express ourselves, but they're going to be in charge of themselves. Yeah. All you have agency to do is be in charge of yourself. And so if you can check out of the blame game and take that responsibility and that accountability and do your work, that's a respectful way to be in a relationship. Yeah.
What about communication? I mean, what advice have you got for us on just clear, honest communication?
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest thing is when you are communicating, you need to be in really deep listening, and you need to recognize that the other person is their own person. They're having their own experience. You may not agree with each other about that. You're having yours and they're having theirs. And if you try to convince each other that your experience is more correct, then you're not communicating. If you're communicating, you're going to listen and you're going to say, that's your experience. And then you're going to do your darndest to have empathy for them and understand where they're coming from.
There was a great line that I read recently. Listen to understand, not listen to respond.
Oh yeah, that's
how many times are we in conversation with someone and they're already
totally formulating,
or they're
actually like we are. Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen at some point. Yes, sorry, we've got a question.
What about those of us with commitment issues?
So again, I would sit and I would try and understand why. What is it I'm afraid of? What is my expectation of relationship? Because if I'm getting in with an expectation that's unrealistic, then it's going to be terrifying because I'm expecting this and I'm getting that. Jeez, that's a letdown. Ran a mile, you know? That's one thing. But I think, again, I think it's so case by case. Like for me, it's really about understanding the person. There's a lot of commitment is rooted in your childhood blueprint. And I don't like to pin everything on childhood, but it does set its imprint on us. And it does inform how we see relationships and go into the world. And we take that imprint and we act it out into our relationships. In fact, we choose partners who are that radar that I was talking about, that unconscious radar. It's like, are you my mother, my father, and my siblings in one person? Great, you'll do. You know, and then we act that out into the relationship as a way to deal with stuff that's happened to us. It's a beautiful thing. We're trying to transform ourselves, but if you expect it not to be that, then it's not going to work out. So yeah, I try to understand like what's really happened for this person, what's their imprint, what's their defenses, what are they afraid of. It's such a case by case thing. You can chat to me. Yeah.
Yes.
What advice would you give couples to make a good financial arrangement?
Nice question. Again, case dependent. Who's earning money? Who's not earning money? Are you both earning money? What was your model as a child for money? Because that's often something. What does money mean to you? I have my own bias, like my own model that I feels really work. That I'm kind of a little bit nervous to say into the room because.
Should we share it? Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
So I believe that there should be a pot that belongs to both people, and that whatever you're earning, you take a share of your earnings, like an equal percentage, and you put it in that pot and you say, no conditions, this is ours, and we're going to figure out how to use this best for ourselves. And you reserve a little bit for yourself. So if one person's making more money, they'd obviously have a little bit extra. So I'll get into that. You reserve a little bit for yourself because you're entitled to it and you should enjoy it in any way you possibly want within the confines of the contract of the marriage or relationship. And then the generosity of the person who's earning more, there's a certain kindness that person can offer and should offer to the person who's earning left to say, you know what, I've got more. Here, you have some for free so that you can also enjoy your life in the way you want to enjoy your life. Now that's just a structure in my head that I think works really well. And again, it depends. Yeah. I think money is a massive part of power dynamics in relationships. And it is intense, the kind of subtle power games that people play with their money. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Yes. Hi.
Do you think that every human on this planet is capable of
Okay. Do you think that every person on this planet is capable of long-term?
I can't imagine
Relationship.
that every single person on this planet is capable of long-term relating. There's got to be a few that are not. But I think that too many people believe that they're not capable of it when they actually are.
Okay. Next question.
You were speaking about like where you have this like magnet for finding yourself triggers, and the responses that you have when you trigger the relationship early on. And I was trying to like, like when you're having an argument or something, and you're physically getting hot.
Oh yeah.
You're like, this is really extreme right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like what is an appropriate trigger? Do you know what I mean? It's like how do you determine what is appropriate and what is inappropriate? And how that person is triggering you and how you're
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going
good
to try
question.
answer this and tell me if it's tackling it. When we're triggered, that's called a complex. Okay? And what a complex is it's a God force. What is a God force? A God force is a force that is bigger than us, that we don't actually understand, that arrives in our lives. And it messes with us. It does things to us. Good things, bad things, all kinds of things. When we get into a complex, it means that an archetypal force that is bigger than you has arrived in your body. And because it's coming from the gods, the forces, it is like, this is not my words, this is from Jung, it's like 1,000 volts per second or something, okay? And it supercharges you. So there is nothing you can do reasonable in that moment. You get hot, you get heady, you get angry, you get victimy, you get whatever, and it takes over. And you mostly just cannot stop it. You can, with years and years and years of practice of identifying your complexes, go, okay, I'm in a complex. Pause. Nothing good is going to come of this. I'm going to just need a minute or an hour or a few days to breathe through and understand what's happening for me, and then I'll come back to you with something. Very idealistic, because we get caught. We really get caught in the heat of the moment. And so we go for it. We're triggered. We go for it. Good, go for it. Go for it. And then afterwards, repair, talk, figure out what gripped you, why did it grip you, what gripped you, why did it grip you? Okay. And then it's not about taking care of each other in that moment. It's about just understanding each other and understanding ourselves.
Stay curious. Someone said that once, a conscious relationship.
Yeah.
Stay curious.
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Why are you feeling this way?
I like the word interested because it's interest, means to get in, right? So you're not like, I'm like curious. Curiosity does take us in, but interest is like, I really want to get into this. I really want to understand what's happening for you because I care about you. Okay, and so then, and I don't know if this is exactly answering your question, but I do want to say that the word trigger is it's like anything. The ego takes anything you offer it and it uses it for its advantage. So we have everybody talking about, you triggered me, you triggered me, you triggered me, you triggered me. You triggered me. Really? No, you got triggered. It's okay, you got triggered, I get triggered too. What triggered you? Figure out what triggered you. Let's figure out what's going on over here. And then you work with those triggers. I don't know if that's answering your question. Yeah. Okay.
Is there a question 3?
Actually, I've forgotten it now. So
Mishka?
Does that align with attachment styles, the complexes that you've spoken about? Does that fall align under complexes? People can come in as secure individuals having worked on themselves, and maybe the one person got triggered and now he's in an avoidant vibe and spins onto the other, and they end up being anxious, and now this whole seesaw effect is taking place. Can you comment on that?
I have to admit, I haven't gone into attachment styles that deeply. I've just skimmed the surface of it. I would say that what's happening there is that two people's unique natures are at play. And when I say your nature, I mean the things that have informed you by nature and by nurture, who you've become. You've learned through your life that moving away helps, or going in helps, or these are survival responses, and that's your nature. That is who you are. You're not going to change it. So what you've got to figure out is, who are these two creatures in relationship with one another? I went to an Imago workshop once, and they used the analogy of the tortoise and the rain cloud. They said in every relationship there's a tortoise and a rain cloud. The rain cloud comes along and it goes, and the tortoise goes. That was so funny. And I do see it in all relationships. In all the couples I've worked with, one likes to go bah, and the other one likes to go whoop. And it's so frustrating to each other. Stop screaming at me. Stop giving me nothing, right? And I don't know how that aligns to attachment styles exactly. I have to look into it. But I think that part of it is, you got triggered. Your nature is going to respond in the way it is. Honor your nature. Honor what's been triggered in you. Do your reflection. Do your personal work. Take it to therapy. Take it to a friend. Take it to someone who's going to help you see the back of your own head, not just affirm your narrative. And then come back into the relationship and work it through.
Put the work in, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I once...
Yeah. If you're constantly triggered and there is no reprieve in your relationship and you're just constantly in conflict all the time, ooh, the heat's too hot. You need some space. You need some personal time, some reflection, a little bit of that mystery. It's like, too much. It has to be able to be sustained. And if it's too cold, you need to build the eros. Yeah.
Add some spice.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We're running out of time.
Yeah, Yolanda, Miriam, thanks so much for what you shared. What I hear you saying about the pedestal and the alchemical process, what I'm then hearing is that each individual is using the relationship to sort of burn clean about so that I can see myself clearly in the other, right? And I think that's obviously going to help me grow. But then what happens when we are growing? How do we zim-zam together? How do we, what's that third entity? Can you talk a bit about that? Because I'm hearing a lot of I will grow by being in a relationship, and the container will help me go deeper and see things more clearly so I don't perceive myself. But then the question is, well, what do we do with that together?
I love that question. So there's this concept called the mandorla, which is when two circles cross over with each other and they form this little almond shape in the middle. And so it's like, there's me and there's you, and we're individuals and we have to work on ourselves. But when we come together, we create this third thing. And this comes from lots of different traditions. That third thing is our first child, and it's our relationship, and we have to tend to it. So what do we do to tend to it? What is the relation? We have to ask constantly, what does the relationship need? Oh, the relationship needs some time away together. Oh, the relationship needs intimacy. Oh, the relationship needs, whatever it needs. And that's a question. So it's absolutely not just about yourself. It's about
beautiful.
the thing you create together. Yeah.
There was a relationship coach at Retreat Yourself that I interviewed, and and exactly what you just said, like that, it's you, me, and us. And since I learned this through her, there's no way that I can't move forward with this in my next relationship. It's what is the relationship that you want to see, want to have? What qualities does that have? And then you go, she goes as far as to say she's not that interested in this individual or that individual. She is the defender of the relationship. And okay, if you want a trustworthy relationship, right, is this behavior that you're displaying, is that trustworthy? Or you want this thing in your relationship? Right. Well, are you contributing to that, or are you taking away from that? It's actually such a simple
I love it. It's practical.
Principle, right?
Yeah.
We don't get taught this stuff in school.
Yeah. But remember, also, in order to be able to have that conversation, really, each person has to really have self-awareness.
Yeah.
Because otherwise what you're putting into the middle is my needs, and you need to take care of me, and what the relationship needs, when you're actually saying what I need from you. And what is this thing called the relationship separate from me?
Right.
Yeah.
We're about to wrap up. We've run out of time.
There's a question the back there.
Okay, very quickly. Yeah. Dara, yes, I'm looking right at you.
So one at the back came first, but we can do both. Quickly, hey? Can we do both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Resources on Kabbalistic relationships.
That was the last question, but you go for it, yeah?
Resources on Kabbalistic relationships. I don't have resources on Kabbalistic relationships. You can come and talk to me. I know a little bit. You can find a Kabbalist. They know a lot. There is a book. What is the book called? There's a book. I'm going to get the name of the book for Yolanda. Maybe she can pass it on to you. There is a book. I just don't remember what it is, yeah.
You say that what is actually getting triggered. comes back to the childhood blueprint?
Yes and no. There is absolutely that at play. We do get triggered by our wounds. And also, there's, from an archetypal perspective, there are different forces that come into our lives, especially like, so if we're talking about marriage, for example, an actual marriage contract, one of the archetypes of the wife is Hera, and she is a very jealous, possessive wife. So when you get triggered, it might be a childhood thing, but it might also just be Hera, the wife. She might be overcome by the Hera archetype. She might be trying to act out this pattern of behavior that people have always kind of tracked, that they eventually, the Greeks called Hera to name the pattern, right? So it's not an actual person, it's a pattern that was personified, and that pattern has arrived in your life, and now you're triggered because you're a possessive Hera, or you might be Zeus, which is Hera's husband, who's philandering and running all over the show and trying to like chase nymphs. Okay, now you've been triggered by that. So, and there's so many different archetypes. So that's also part of why mythology is so important even in modern times, to understand these myths from various different cultures. Like what archetypal landscape am I in? Why am I being triggered like this? When a mother becomes a mother, she enters into the mother archetype. There are a whole lot of triggers there that have something to do with her mother, something to do with her childhood, and something simply to do with the mother archetype. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, what kind of, how can you work with that? If you're saying it's ordained from nature.
So you go into the myth and you understand what that god or goddess was about, what they were looking for. What did they want in the myth? Because that's where the wisdom lies. Oh, this is what they're looking for. Follow the myth, learn from the myth. What does that mean to me as a modern day person? Yeah.
Sure, fascinating. Yeah. One last question, yes.
I have a question regarding relationships and the discernment between intimate relationships and friendships. This sort of Venn diagram intersection also brings these complexes sort of available in friendships as well, especially over periods of time. And I find that it's also within friendships that renegotiation of those forces are necessary. Where sublimations of sexual chemistry and emotional attachment may have been require renegotiation at the time. So I think I'm struggling to sort of get a sort of clear distinction between intimacy within a romantic partner relationship and then also generative intimacy in friendships.
Yeah. So the same sort of process happens in any relationship where we have closeness. We have it with our parents, we have it with our siblings, we have it with our friendships, we have it with our colleagues, we have it with our children. It's like you're gonna come up against each other, you're gonna be reflected in one another, you have to reflect, you have to do your work. I think that there's a difference in each one, because there's different archetypes involved. So like the archetypes of friendship are different to the archetypes of marriage, are different to the archetypes of only lovers, are different to the archetypes of mother-child, are different to the archetypes of working together. So again, you have to understand these relationships uniquely as they are. But I absolutely believe, and I've felt in my own friendships, that when we hit that death point and we really face one another and we talk through what's needing to shift here and we can go through it, wow, the friendship deepens. Hold on to those friendships. You know, same with parents and children. You hit something and then you work through it. Wow, that relationship deepens.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We've run out of time. How can people get a hold of you or get involved? Or
I don't have a social media presence. I am a busy mom and working. I don't know. It's not my thing. But I have a WhatsApp number. You can contact me over WhatsApp. And I'm plugged into the community where I trained. A lot of my training came from. I trained in different things, but most of my training came from, we run workshops. There's a workshop coming up soon called Anima Animus, Inner Lovers. It's all about this internal relationship we have between masculinity and femininity and how it impacts our relationships. Yeah, there's workshops happening, or WhatsApp me.
Awesome. Come chat to Miriam.
Or come chat to me,
Right. Quick break. Please, everybody, go help yourself to
everybody.
And snacks outside.
Thank you.
Thank you.